That's who I thought was going to come, but not here yet. So, okay, so I believe that we're on. A little crooked, but we're on. So, if anybody is out there and can give me a heads up that you can hear through the microphone, that would be great. We'll wait another minute or so. I think we're just a tiny bit early. So Friday morning, the 24th of September, yoga flow. And we will need a strap today. So if you're at home and you can get yourself a belt or a strap of any kind, do. And, is it the 25th? Oh dear, it's not the 24th. I think I heard her. Okay, we'll start over. It's Friday, September 25th today, and this is Yoga Flow. I was lucky to remember it's Friday. So start to sit comfortably. Same thing at home. I still don't see anybody, if you're out there, can hear me, so I'll just assume you can if anybody's there. So sit however's comfortable. And you can sit up on a blanket or two if it feels better for your hips. Let yourself really ease your way into getting however you want your legs to be, whether it's crossing your legs or stretching them out. Take your time. Actually, for a second, just let your shoulders roll around a little bit. Just roll through your shoulders. Let them circle in one direction. And then reverse the circles and let them go in the other direction. And then just bring your chin on down towards your chest. Let your head come forward. Release your neck. Maybe even turn your head a little side to side before we start to come into our breath here, just settling in. And then when you're ready, letting your eyes gently close and reaching up now, up through the top of your head, finding space in your spine, feeling your sitting bones reaching down towards the ground, top of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. And just start to be aware of feeling your breath coming in and going out, feeling the belly rise and expand as you inhale. And then start to circle your torso with your breath. So letting your exhalations bring you forward, your inhales bring you back. Doesn't matter which direction you're going in, just keep going in that same, circling in that same direction. Letting the breath easily start to bring you into moving. And then stopping wherever you feel comfortable to stop so you can reverse directions and come off in the other direction with those circles. Allowing the breath to move you. Enjoy feeling the inhales and the exhales coming in and going out through your nose. And we'll finish off so that you end up back all the way sitting back upright. So making your way back up to sitting, releasing your fingertips out onto the floor beside you. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse, inhaling the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And now walk your hands back and see if you can either stay on your fingertips or go flat to the palms of the hands if that feels fine for you. Feel the chest drawing forward, the shoulders drawing back, opening up through the front body here. And be easy about where you look. Your neck feels good to look forward. Look forward. If you like to look up towards the ceiling, really depends on how your neck feels. Let it feel released and good. And then we'll rise on back up. And we're going to shift over to our left hip and swing our legs over to the right of us here. So you kind of have this front leg about parallel to the front edge of your mat. And where this right knee goes is kind of up to you. All we're going to do is twist a little towards this left leg here. And then we're going to come forward. So walking your way on out. Doesn't matter how far. You might stay up high. Keep your hands to give you support. You may decide you want to fold all the way over your thigh there. You may even want to put your head on the floor. Or you may want to make a pillow with your hands or use a block underneath your head. But just breathe. Let yourself release here. Breathe into your low back. And now come up enough to shift over onto your left forearm. We're going to open up into a side stretch here, letting ourselves just open up through the right side of the body. Breathing into that side you're stretching. Try not to collapse down into that shoulder. Press down into that left forearm a little bit. Good. One more breath. And then we'll turn back towards the leg again, and we're going to walk our way on back up. And then all we're going to do is shift our legs all the way around into the other side. So again, everybody's different in their hips and their knees. You get the way you can be here with your legs. And then twist towards that front right thigh there. And then come forward. Again, you can stay up really high. You can still feel an openness here. You can still feel something in the outer right hip. You may decide you want to fold over or not. Nice full breaths. And from here, we'll come up a little bit so we can bring that right arm back a little and come on over into that side stretch here now, opening through that side of the body. Really feel the side waist there on the left side. Let it feel really good. You might even imagine pointing that left knee a little more away from you and get a little more into the front of the hip there. And then we'll go ahead and turn back towards the leg. We're going to come on up, and as we do, we'll go ahead and shift our legs on around and separate your legs out just a little bit. It doesn't need to be far. And then just come forward a bit. Let your backs of your legs open up, your inner thighs, knees and toes face up. Just enjoy opening up a little bit here, coming forward with that nice long back. Good, and then we'll come up and let's bring our legs on back to the front and go ahead and bring your left foot into the inside of your right leg somewhere, above or below the knee. And we're going to come around into twist. Left hand comes behind us as we twist towards that left leg. Right hand can be on your knee, your shin. You can swing the arm across to the outside of the leg if you'd like. Lengthening upward here, waking up now. Through the spine, sit bones drawing downward, top of the head reaching up. One more breath. And then use your belly to bring you on back around. And from here, cross that left ankle above your right knee, and then ease your way a little bit forward here. Now you can put your hand on your foot. Right hand can come to the left foot. You can press the ball of the foot into your hand, or you can interlace your fingers between your toes. If you like to make space there between your toes, you can play with that a little bit. So you wake up the feet and also come into opening up through that hip and the back of your right leg, of course. One more breath. And we're going to slowly come up. We're going to stretch that left leg long. Bring the right foot into the inside of the leg, either below or above your knee. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, we'll twist, bringing our right hand around behind us. Left hand can stay on your knee or your shin. You can bring your left arm across, if you'd like, to the outside of the leg. Feel that left heel on the ground. Engage the low belly. And one more breath here. And then use your belly to bring you slowly on back around. And we're going to cross that ankle above or below the knee. And again, you can interlace your fingers if you want between your toes. You can press into the ball of the foot with your hand if you want to. Pressing back with the ball of the foot into your hand. I mean, you can even massage your foot if you'd rather, right? Take your time. Let it feel good. Good. One more breath. And then we'll slowly come on back up. Stretch your legs on out in front of you. Bring your arms on back behind you again. And see if you can just, again, draw the chest forward. Maybe you feel a little better to look up a little higher. If not, don't do it. Just be mindful of what feels good. And then we'll release, come on back up. Move through your hands a little bit. Really just rotate them around. Feel your wrists. Shake your hands out a little bit. We're coming around towards our hands and knees. So if you don't want to be on your knees, you can bring your knees onto a blanket. And if your hands or wrists bother you, come to fist if you need to. Or sometimes putting a blanket underneath the heels of your hands can help that too, if the wrists are iffy. And then take your time here. Let your head just turn a little bit side to side, real easily. And then come back, send your right foot back behind you on the floor, curl the toes under, and wake up the back of that right leg simply by pressing into the heel back there. Good. And then bring the right leg up, foot off the floor here, and we're going to swing the leg up and bring the foot onto the floor out beside our right hand. Toes are facing forward, so the foot is parallel to the long edge of your mat there. And you can shift your hips back a little bit if you want a little more in your inner thigh. That's up to you. And then we'll release. We're going to bring the leg back behind us, curl the toes under again, and see if you can lift your left knee up just for a second. Feel your arms, your hands. And then put the knee down and lift the right leg up parallel to the floor. And if you're able to reach your left arm forward, you can add that as well, coming into balance there. Right leg back, left arm forward. And then we're going to release. Let's shift back towards pose of a child for a breath. So getting out of the wrist for a second, let yourself shift in towards your child's pose. You don't have to go all the way. Just enjoy easy, full breaths into the low back. See if you can imagine as you exhale that your heart just melts down a little more towards the ground. Good. And we're going to come on back up to all fours here. Send our left foot back behind us. Curl the toes under. Press into the heel. Take your time to feel that openness now in the back of that left leg. And then we're going to float the leg up and bring the foot on up. Again, out beside your left hand, and toes are facing forward. So the foot is parallel to the long edge of your mat. And you can shift back a little if you want a little more in your inner thigh, if you feel like that feels good. But try to stay grounded with that left foot out there. So all four corners of the foot are on the floor. And then we'll bring the leg on back behind us and keep the toes on the floor. Lift the right knee up a little bit if you can. Just come a little deeper into the hands and the arms and the shoulders. And then we'll lower the right knee down, float the left leg up parallel to the floor, and release your right arm forward if you can, coming into that balance. And then we'll release hand down, knee down, shift back towards child's pose again. And this time, once you get back into your child's pose, walk over to the right with your hands. Come up enough to walk over to the side to the right. And then release your head down. Let yourself take a couple of breaths there. And then we'll walk back through center and we'll walk over to the left. Come as far as you want. And then again, release your head if you can. Really let your neck release. And then breathe into that right side. And then we'll walk our hands back into center here. One more breath. And let your next inhale bring you on up. And we're going to move through our cat-cows from here. So start to ease your way through your cat-cows, feeling your tailbone initiate. Take your own time. So whether you like to move continuously or stay in cat or cow for a couple of breaths, just move through at your own pace. Just enjoying that easy flowing through the spine. And then finish off the one you're on. Come back to more neutral spine. And we're going to step our left foot forward and find a lunge here. So if you know you like your blocks, grab your blocks. Bringing that left foot forward and coming on up with that back knee. And then take your time. Let yourself, if you can, when you inhale, just lift your hips a little bit. And when you exhale, come back down, pressing the feet away from each other. So it's like these little pulses. Inhale up a little bit. Exhale, come back down, pressing the feet away from each other. So these little movements, they're not big to look at. Just let it feel very deep and let your breath carry you through. Finish off, come back to that full lunge, and we're going to switch legs. So, again, once you get established in your lunge, let your inhales lift your hips up a little bit. And as you exhale, let the feet press away from each other as you come back into that full lunge. So again, moving with your own breath. Good. So finish off into your full lunge, and we're going to switch again. And this time, see if you can bring your hands to the inside of that left front foot, all right? So that widens your stance a little bit. And then see about bringing your hands up to your thigh, maybe even bringing yourself all the way up to where you're in this really high lunge where your hands are to your heart. Don't have to. You can stay forward with the body if you need to. Take your time. Opening up through the front of the right hip here. And then we'll bring our hands on back down, and we're going to switch. So take your time, bring your hands to either side of the foot, and then switch to bring the right foot in front. And again, bring the blocks to the inside, or your hands to the inside of that right foot. And then slowly make your way on up. And take your time. Stay forward if you need. Hands onto the thigh if you need. And then we'll release to come on back down. Go ahead and bring your hands to either side of that front foot. And let's step forward and come on into standing forward bend. So feet are hips distance apart and parallel. Be mindful of letting your head move around. In fact, kind of let your torso sway a little bit if you can. Just a little bit side to side. Hands can be on the blocks, or you can have your forearms above your knees and still do this little bit of a moving back and forth, right? So use whatever support you need. And then come on back into center. Enjoy some nice, full, deep, even breaths. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up to standing. Inhaling our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, letting our hands come gently to rest right there in front of our chests, in front of our hearts. So take your time, set up your mountain pose there, adjust your feet as you need. If you need to sway around a little bit, take your time, feel even between your feet. Feel like you're pressing the floor away from you equally with your feet. Drawing upward with your thighs, creating space in your knees without locking your knees. And then just imagine, whether your eyes are opened or closed, that you are looking right on out at the horizon. And maybe even picture something you'd want to see out there on the horizon. If there was nothing else, if there was one thing that you could see, a person or a thing, an animal, anything that you'd like to envision. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend the knees as you come on forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice flat back. Hands can be where you like to be, on your shins, on your blocks, on the floor. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So take your time getting into dog, right? If you need to move a little bit, if you need to wiggle around or walk, wag your tail, walk through your feet, literally just let the body kind of take over to do what it feels like doing. And let's let our next inhale bring us on out to plank. Nice and strong, engage in the belly. Feel your sitting bones reaching for your heels. And now bend your elbows a little bit, hug them inward a little, just a tiny little bit. Stay there for a breath. And then we're going to lower down. You can put your knees down first if you choose, elbows right by the ribs. And let's come on into Sphinx with our elbows under our shoulders, bringing your gaze between your hands, maybe even a little forward of between your hands. Opening up here through the front of the body. Feel the tops of the feet into the floor, but don't press hard. Try not to overly grip in the buttocks either. Engage your belly a little. And then we'll release to come on back down. We're going to come back to down dog, whether you come through a half or a full push-up. Maybe you prefer to come back to your hands and knees and then back to down dog. And we'll bring our right foot forward from here to find lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Right to the breath. Full, deep, even breaths. Let your hands do wherever feels good for you. Let them move to where you want. Let your face relax. Let your jaw feel soft. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing. Inhaling the arms up overhead. And on our exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. Once they get up there, bend your elbows and let the outside of your thumbs really come to the back of your head somewhere. And then see if you can lift your elbows up a little bit. You're actually putting a little weight into your hands. The head is pressing gently into your hands there, opening up through the chest. One more breath. And then start to come back upright. Lengthen the arms up long. Interlace your fingers. Send your pointer finger out. And let's reach over to the right, coming into a little side stretch. Breathing into that side you're stretching. And then we'll rise back up to center and we'll go to the other side. So letting yourself reach over, Breathing into that side you're stretching. Good. And then we'll come on back to the top. Keep the hands like this. Bend your elbows again so they come right to the top of the back of the head. And then again, look up a little bit. Let the elbows rise up. Now try not to tuck your tailbone forward. Feel your tailbone reaching down between your heels. One more inhale. And on the exhale, rise back up. Unfold the arms on down beside us here now. We're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward. Let your inhale lengthen out your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Good. Let's inhale out to plank. See if you can stay here for a breath. And then we're going to come back to down dog. Reaching back into downward dog. Hug those elbows towards each other. Let's do it again. Inhale out to your plank. Let's try a three-legged plank, lifting one foot just a little off the floor. Now, that foot that's lifted, see if you can bring the knee in towards your chest. Then stretch it back long again. Then put the foot down. Do the other foot. Lift the foot up in the air. Bring the knee in a little bit towards your chest here. You're still trying to stay in plank. Bring the leg back and lower the foot. And we're going to come down to the mat. Knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. Then we'll come into a little cobra. And if you want to go higher, go ahead and press on up. You can. Elbows in towards the ribs. And then from here, we'll come on back into down dog. Reaching back into your downward facing dog pose. Left foot comes forward into lunge. And then we'll come on back into our standing forward bend. Full deep breaths. Again, soft face. Let go of your jaw. Imagine your eyes kind of melting back into the sockets here. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips, bend our knees, rise up, and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. We're going to move with the breath here, so take a couple of seconds here to get really into your mountain pose, feeling very balanced. And let the breath be the most important thing as we go through these next two sun salutations. So releasing the arms on down beside us, let's inhale the arms all the way out and up. And let your exhale bring you forward. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale, exhale, downward facing dog pose. Let's inhale out to plank. And on the exhale, we're going to lower down. Inhaling into that cobra of choice. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward, lunge. Inhale. Exhale into standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising on up as you inhale. And let your exhale carry you forward. Inhale into that long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale out to your plank. Let your exhale lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhaling back, down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward, lunge, and inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up all the way to the top. And let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale into that long back. We're going to step into down dog or jump, however you want to get there. Take your time, walk a little bit, wag your tail around. Pick one foot up at a time and see if you can circle the foot. So you move through your ankle a little bit. Shake out the foot maybe. Just play a little bit. Good. And then we're going to come on back to full dog. Hug your elbows towards each other. Feel your hands equal on the mat there. And we'll bring our left foot forward. And we're coming up for warrior two. So be mindful here as you get your heels lined up. Really getting that sense of the knee coming out over the center of the foot there. And then start to rise your arms up higher than your shoulders and a wide open V. Turn your pinkies towards each other. Your palms face each other. Your pinkies turn even a little more in. so that you can feel that sense of releasing your shoulders away from your ears. And now rotate the palms to turn away from each other, starting to lower your arms on down, looking out over the top of that left hand and reaching back through the right fingertips. And enjoy Warrior Two, that strength and power in your Warrior Two pose. And let's lower our right hand on down to our right hip. We're going to straighten the left knee out. Reach the left hand a little forward and then bring it down for triangle pose. Now you can put it on your leg. You can grab yourself a block if you want for underneath your hand, either in front of or behind your leg. Or you can use the floor, of course, or anything else. So thighs engage upward. Look down at your left foot for a second. Make sure you're not rolling to the inside. The outside is the temptation on this. And then bring your gaze back forward again. See if you can lift that top arm straight up from your shoulder. That right hand faces forward. Take your time here. Good. Now, lower the right arm down towards your head. It's a little more side stretch. Turn the palm down towards the ground as it gets there by your head. Let yourself find a little bit more in the side body there. Good, and then bring the arm on back up. We're going to bend the front knee and come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other. And coming into a straighter left knee, we're going to turn our feet more parallel for a wide-legged forward bend. Grab your blocks if you want them. As you come on forward, take your time. Bring your hands either to blocks or the floor in front of you, and then very slowly bend one knee at a time. See if you can stay, as long as it doesn't bother your knees, on one side, giving that inner thigh of the long leg a little bit of more time to adjust. And then come on back into center, and let's walk our hands over towards the right. Now you can go with your blocks, or you can go with your hands towards the floor and go over to your foot. So take your time, go as far as you want to go. Keep your legs very equal feeling if you can. Both legs equally bent or equally straight. And then we'll come back through center and we're going to walk to the left. So again, how far you go, up to you. Once you get as far as you want to go, try to stay there with your breath. And then we'll come on back into center. And again, you can use blocks or hands on the floor. Press your feet away from each other. Imagine you're trying to lengthen your mat. Feel your inner thighs melt their way behind you. And then you can decide if you want to come down, letting the hands come back more towards between your feet, or hold your ankles, or maybe you feel like staying in front of you yourself, either forearms on the blocks or hands on the blocks, stacked blocks if you want. So only you know how this feels for you. Take your time. Be with your breaths. One more full, deep breath in and out. And then we'll walk our hands back out. We're going to walk back over to our left foot to come back into lunge. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Good. Once you're in dog, walk to the tops of the feet a couple of times. Press into the toenails, 1 foot at a time. Give the tops of the feet some relief there. And then come on back to your full dog. Next inhale, let's come on out to plank, and let's lower down. Knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come into an up dog here where, if you can, you lift your knees off the floor. Now, your toes can be curled under, or you can be on the tops of the toes, right? That's up to you. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Good. Let's come out again to plank. Now, you decide if you want to add a back bend and how to do it. So you can come through a Kriya without going through chaturanga, or you can come all the way down again. And then we'll meet back in down dog. Good. From here, we're going to bring our right foot forward. And we're coming up for Warrior Two on the other side. So if you need your blocks back over there for triangle and for your wide-legged forward bend, get them there. And line up those heels. And be easy. Be real mindful of that alignment of that front knee. Float your arms on up high into that wide open V. Turn your pinkies and palms towards each other. Drop the shoulders down. Feel that sense of space between your ears and your shoulders. And then we'll rotate the palms away from each other as we lower the arms on down, bringing your gaze out over the top of that right hand. Feet in the floor equally. Reaching back through the left fingertips, forward through the right, but top of the shoulders softening. And then we'll bring our left hand down to our hip. We're going to straighten the right knee out, reach a little forward with that right hand, and then bring it down. Again, what you use under your hand. It can be your leg, your thigh, your shin, your ankle. You can lengthen the torso out. Take your time. Feel the thighs engaging upward. Just look at the right foot. Make sure you're not rolling to the pinky toe side of your foot. And then turn your gaze to look so that you look forward, and then let that top arm come up. Now, if you like to turn to look up at that top hand, sometimes pressing it forward a little bit helps. It gets the neck in a little bit easier place sometimes. And now go ahead and look back forward if you were looking up, because we're going to lower the arm down more towards our head. Palm is facing towards the floor. You're reaching all the way through the fingertips there, getting a nice side stretch. And then arms going to come back up, bend that right knee. We're going to press the feet away from each other as we come on back up into Warrior Two. And we'll bring our hands down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. Now, before you come forward, get your feet pretty set and bring your hands behind you and clasp your hands back there. And then bend your knees and come on forward. Now, if you can, stay up if you need to. More parallel to the floor is fine. Tabletop back, right? Or if it's fine to fold, top of the head towards the ground, and you're okay with that, do it. Now, whether your arms will come off your back or not is up to your shoulders. So if that feels good, you can release them a little bit or more, depending on what your shoulders let you do. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release. Let your arms come on down. Move around a little if you need to. Let yourself get set, going to that place where you can really focus on your breath without feeling tensing up in the body here. So really releasing through the upper half of the body, letting your head hang. And then be with those breaths all the way in, all the way out. One more full, deep breath. And then we'll walk our hands back out. We're going to walk back to that right foot to come into lunge. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog. So you're on your own here. If you want to do some more vinyasas or kriyas, you can, or you don't have to. You can put your knees down and rest. You can come out to plank, move through for an up dog. You can put your knees down. You can move quickly or slowly too. Just pay attention to how you feel. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog pose. Take your time there. Good. And we will bring the left foot forward to come into Warrior One this time. So getting yourself set, bringing that left foot forward, letting that right heel rotate back, bringing your shoulders around, and actually bring your arms a little away from you. Turn your palms forward. Let your shoulders release down away from your ears. And get this sense of being as balanced as you can right here, between your legs up into your hips. Yeah, your legs are obviously different, but you can feel still a sense of balance and equality there. Same thing right and left sides of your body. And let's inhale the arms out and up overhead. Clasp your hands together, send your pointer finger out, and lay your hands back again right there at the top of the back of the head. And then see if you can let yourself rise your elbows up a little bit. You're just gently allowing your head to press back into your hands, but it's not harsh. And just enjoy now. Feel that fullness of the back foot into the floor. One more breath. And then we'll rise the arms. Keep the hands together if you can. Back up into long arms, elbows hugging in. If you want to look up, you can. And then we'll release the arms on down beside us. Straighten the front knee out. Get your hips squared around. Adjust if you need to your stance. And now your hands are going to turn to palms facing towards your body. And as we come forward for pyramid, reach the hands back behind you. So really let yourself feel that sense of shoulders away from your ears, fingertips reach back as long as you can. When you're ready to lower your hands down to a surface, you decide what height you want to use, blocks or the floor. And once you get your hands down, if you need to adjust your stance, do. So you can stay long or you can fold over that front leg. That's up to you. Good. One more breath. And then bring the hands on back so you can lengthen the body out. We're going to bend the front knee, release into a lunge here with that right heel reaching directly behind you. And then we're going to lower that right knee down to the floor, pressing into the top of the foot. Now, if you can come up a little higher, you can use your blocks to help you. You can let yourself rise on up. You can even put your hands on your thigh. If you feel like you want to bring your hands to your heart, you can. Or you can bring your arms up overhead. And some of you may even want to feel that lift as you look up a little bit, bring the chest a little forward. And then we're going to release, bring our hands down. And you may need your blocks. We're going to shift our hips back, straighten that front leg out. Feel the heel drawing back towards you a little bit as you extend your torso out over that front leg. Really getting into the hamstring. Good. Now, this is optional. You can stay here. You can shift a little more forward, or you can shift into a little bit of a split if you'd like. You've got your blocks there. You know, they can hold you. You can use your arms and your hands to hold you up. You can go a little bit lower if you want towards a split. That is up to you. Let yourself be mindful, easy. And then we're going to bring that left foot on back. Take your time. Come into child's pose for a breath here now. Get yourself set to reach your arms forward softly and rest in child's pose. And then we'll come on up to all fours and make our way into down dog from here. Once you're there, do what you like, right? You can come into moving through vinyasas or kriyas. You can just stay in your dog, or you can, if you like, come into another child's pose. Good. So finish off. We'll meet back in down dog. And from here, we're going to bring our right foot forward, and we're setting up for that warrior one, remember. So take your time. Get yourself squared off to the front of the mat with your shoulders. Get really easy with how you have that back foot, the turnout of it, right? Arms alongside us. Turn your palms forward. Drop your shoulders down. Really feel like you're reaching the fingertips down towards the floor, and there's a lot of space between your ears and your shoulders. And then we'll inhale the arms out and up overhead. Clasp your hands, send your pointer finger out, just for fun. Unclasp, clasp the other way with the other thumb on top, which feels really weird. And then put your pointer finger up from there. And then bend your elbows and place right at the top of the back of the head, your hands. And then lean back as the elbows rise up a little bit. And feel that openness here through the front of the body. And you've got the weight of your head, so it makes it easier in a way. And then we'll extend the arms up. Again, you can look up if you choose. Take your time there. And then we're going to release the arms on down beside us. Straighten the front knee out. Again, if you need to adjust to get these hip pointers around square, adjust your stance, do. Arms down alongside you, palms face towards you. As you reach back with your hands, you're just going to respond with the torso coming forward. Thighs engaging upward. Protecting your knees, using all those muscles. And take your time. You put your hands down whenever you're ready. So if you get ready to put your hands down on a surface, go right ahead, whatever height you want to be. And also, adjust your stance if you need to. So if it feels better to shorten or lengthen your stance, do it. And you can fold over if you want that front leg. So if it feels good too, you can bow forward. If not, stay up more parallel. One more breath. And then come up enough. So now that you can, release into lunge. Release that back heel directly behind your foot. Because we're going to lower that back knee. And I forgot to say, but obviously you can get a blanket if you need underneath your knee. Now, how far you shift your hips forward when you think about rising up from here, that is up to you. If you need to shift back a little bit, do. If you feel really good to shift forward to open up more, do. Hands can be on the thighs, or you can keep your hands on your blocks, or hands to the heart. Or you can reach your arms up overhead. And then we'll release to bring our hands down. Beautiful. We're going to shift backward with our hips. Straighten that front knee out. So letting yourself, as you come kind of over that, your middle of the body is kind of right over the inside of that right leg. And you can just enjoy feeling the hamstring open up there. You can shift if you'd like to shift towards a split. You can, but you don't have to, right? You can stay right here, or you can let yourself shift and bring the heel farther forward, coming towards a split, but making sure that you use that support. Good. And then we'll come on back. And with the leg, let's come back to child's pose again for a breath. So releasing for a breath or two here. And then final vinyasas. Coming on up and back to dog. If you want to do vinyasas or kriyas, now's the time. So, you don't even have to do a back bend. You can come out to plank. You can move through, go back to dog. You can go back into an up dog or a cobra. Totally up to you. Good. And then finish off. Let yourself meet back in down dog. And then bend your knees really deeply. Imagine your belly coming towards your thighs. And you decide, do you want to jump or walk your way forward towards the front of the mat? So coming forward to get into your standing forward bend. And as you come into Uttanasana, holding your elbows if that's okay for you. Take your time. Bring your hands wherever you choose. And then we'll press into our feet equally as we rise on up to standing. And let's inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Finding your mountain pose. Give your body a little time here. Be with your breath. Let the body find its way into that sense of being very balanced, equal. Like you're supported by the air all around you. And then we'll unfold our arms. Shake out a little bit. Move around a little bit if you need to. And we're going to bring our mats to a wall. So let's bring the short edge of the mat into a wall. If you're home and you have a wall, that would be good. I know some of us have a hard time finding an empty space at a wall. So if you don't have one, doesn't mean you have to stop doing any yoga. Just Let yourself do the best you can. And let's turn, once we get our mats pretty close to the wall, turn with our left hand to the wall and let your hand touch the wall as you bring your right foot up for tree pose. So the tree can be low or it can be high. So whether you bring the foot into the inside of your calf or the inside of your inner thigh, get your hips squared off. See if you can let go of the wall briefly. Let your arms just hang for a second. Feel the foot coming gently into the inside of your leg and the inside of your leg coming back into your foot. And then bring your left hand back to the wall. Right arm is going to come up overhead. And we're just going to reach towards the wall with the right hand and do a little side stretch. You've got your left hand there to support you. Now, if you touch the wall with your right hand, you might want to let your left arm hang, if that feels good. And then put the left hand back so you can come right on back up into tree pose. And now, bringing the right arm up and the left arm up into arms overhead in tree. See if you can take a breath there. And then we'll release. Come on down with the foot and the hands. Walk around a little bit as we go to the other side. Move through your feet if you need to, especially that supporting foot, right? And then we'll shift our weight to our right foot and bring our left foot up. Again, whatever height you want to be, below or above the knee. Right hand on the wall. Take your time for a second. Kind of get your focus going there. And then see if you can let your arms just hang. If you have to end up putting that hand back on the wall, do it, right? And then bring the right hand back to the wall. Left arm up overhead. We're going to reach towards the wall with the left hand and do a little side stretch. So if you can touch the wall with your left fingertips, you might be able to let your right arm hang. If you can't quite reach the wall with that side stretch, then keep your right hand on the wall. And then right hand back to the wall so you can rise back up. And now let's try to let that left arm stay up and add the right arm up overhead and find a little balance here in our tree pose with the arms overhead. And you know, you do whatever you need to do. If you need to put your foot down, start over. If you need to use the wall, use it. Foot pressing gently into the inner leg back into your foot. And then we're going to release and come on back down. Shake out. We're going to turn around, and we're going to put our feet back to the wall and come on down. So let your toes touch, the tips of your toes touch the wall. Shift back towards child's pose. You don't have to go all the way. That's up to you. If you feel like you want to stay somewhat forward, stay somewhat forward. And then stretch your arms nice and long overhead. And let's inhale our way up to all fours. Check out your hands before you come into down dog with your heels up the wall, right? When you're ready, curl your toes under. Let yourself reach back. If you feel like you're in the wrong place with your hands, come down and readjust. So if you can bring your right foot up the wall, do. The toes are curled under. You can stay right here just for a breath. You can walk your hands back towards the wall. So you come more towards a split at the wall if you want to. You don't have to. And then we're going to come down with that foot, so you might need to adjust. And then bring the left foot up the wall. Curl the toes under, remember, on the wall there. Might be enough just to stay with your hands out farther, or you may want to walk back with your hands. Come more towards a split at the wall. And then release, walk back forward, bring your foot down, bring your knees down, and rest, however you need. So if you need to do a child's pose, do it. If you'd rather sit up on your feet, too, that's fine. Now, if you want to go upside down a little bit more, you get to pick. Do you want to be on your hands, or your hands going, no way, I'm not doing any more for my wrist? You can go to forearms if you'd rather, and you can come up into dolphin and play a little bit there. And if you're like, no, I'm perfectly fine to be right side up, then stay right side up. So just play a little bit with where you want to be. Close your eyes if you're resting a little bit. Just let yourself be with your breath. Let things settle down. Good. When you're ready to come down and rest, take your time, a couple of breaths into your low back. Good. And then we're going to slowly make our way up. So get yourself on around to sitting and reach over and get your strap. So let's bring our straps to the ball of our right foot. If you know forward bending is a lot less than fun for you and a blanket can be so helpful to sit up on, let yourself sit up on a blanket. And bring the strap across the ball of the foot there. Now what you do with this foot, this left foot, it can be lower, it can be higher, doesn't matter. You can put it below or above the knee. Just take your time there. And then just press gently into the ball of your foot. Let yourself sit up nice and tall. And at first, see if you can just move a little bit with your breath. So don't force anything. Like as you exhale, it's just very easily coming forward. And when you inhale, you come easily back. So you're not pushing yourself to any edge. You're just very calmly, easily letting your exhales bring you forward and your inhales bring you back. And then the next time you come forward, see if you can stay for wherever you've gotten to. Press into that strap. Maybe bring your hands down a little more towards your foot. Feel the foot pressing now, the heel on the floor, the foot, ball of the foot pressing into the strap. And then maybe you can draw yourself a little more forward. There is that edge. Once you go to this edge where you're like, oh, no way am I going any farther, come back out of that edge so that you're not pushing yourself to that limit. You're giving your body time to adjust. Good. One more breath. And now slowly we're going to come up. Now we're going to bring our left knee, this bent leg, back behind us a little bit. All right? So you're turning the angle of your pelvis. You're not facing forward anymore. You're facing off on a diagonal line. And then from there, bring your right hand to hold the strap. Slide on down to the strap all the way there by your foot. And let yourself extend out. Bring your left hand on up to the side waist there, the left side waist. You might even want to put your hand on your left ribs if it feels good, just to feel that openness through the ribs. And then you can decide if you want to add the left arm up and over. You can even reach over with your left hand and get hold of your right toes if you can. You don't have to have your left sit bone grounded. It can float up. It's a very deep side stretch, however you look at it, whether you reach for your toe or not. It's a very deep side stretch, even when the arm is up or a hand is on the ribs or on the waist. One more breath. And then we're going to release to come on back up. We're going to bring that left foot on back. We're going to center ourselves forward again, and we're going to switch feet. So bringing that ball of the left foot into the strap. Now, you can use, remember, support under your knee if you need. A blanket, a block. You can lower the foot down, too. You don't want to feel uncomfortable at all in this knee. And then see about, again, as you look at that strap on your foot, see about without stressing at all, just easily exhaling your way forward and inhaling your way back up, keeping your back nice and long. And it's almost like a rocking sensation, right? Feels really good. And now the next time that you end up forward, let yourself stay there. And perhaps you can walk your hands down the strap more towards your foot. And then press into that strap with your foot, heel on the floor. Maybe you can draw yourself a little more over the inside of that left leg. Again, if you reach that edge, that place where you're like, where, almost close to hurt, come back out of it. Give your body time to adjust itself, coming into opening up the back of that leg, the hips. One more breath. And now as you start to slowly make your way back up, hold the strap with your left hand and bring that right knee kind of back. Again, you can adjust to the block or the blanket underneath it, right? And then slide that left hand down so that you're holding right there, both ends of the strap by your foot. You can bend your left elbow as much as you want. Bring your right hand on up. You can kind of explore how your ribs feel. You can feel the spaces between your ribs and do a little massage there if you want. You can bring your hand to your hip, lower if that's better, or you can bring your arm up and over. And if the idea of reaching your right hand towards your left foot feels good, you can float the right sit bone up off the floor. Good. So one more breath. And then we're going to slowly make our way on back up to the top. Go ahead and turn back around. Bring your legs in front of you. Take your strap on off. We're done with it. Move your legs a little bit. Circle through your ankles. And do some little wiper blades with your feet, your legs, so it feels good. And we're going to come on down to the floor. If you're able to roll down, if you like rolling down, you can roll down with your feet on the floor. You can roll down with your legs long. If it bothers your back, don't do it at all. But if you like the idea of rolling down through the spine, you can let yourself take your time. There's usually kind of a big bump once you get past the big bump. Maybe you can roll down slowly till your head's on the ground, bringing your right knee into your chest and extending your left leg long when you get there. And then we'll switch, bringing that left knee in and stretching the right leg long. Good. And then bring both knees on into the chest, whether you feel like circling your knees or letting yourself come into a little Baddha Konasana or happy baby pose. That's up to you. Really let your hips feel good. Good. And then bring yourself on back, feet to the floor. Now you pick. Would you rather do a supported bridge pose with your blocks or block? Or would you rather let yourself bring your feet to the floor and press up into bridge? Like, remember, supported bridge can be any height. You've got blocks that are 3 heights. You've also got 2 blocks you can stack up. So if you do choose to do a supported bridge, it can be any height. And if you're preferring to let yourself come up into bridge pose, Remember, you don't need to stay for any certain length of time. If you feel like you need to come down, you come down when you need. Just remember in bridge pose that the feet are a little wider than in mountain, still parallel. Knees are reaching away from you. Back of the head is gently into the ground. And if anybody feels like they'd rather do a full upward facing bow pose, you can come down from bridge, bring your hands above your shoulders, and press up into a full upward facing bow pose if you feel so inclined. And you know, too, that when you do come down from a bridge pose, you want to take your time to bring your knees in gently towards your chest so that you release. After a back bend, you always want to bring yourself into a little relief. And that can be different for different people, bringing yourself into happy baby or just simply knees in towards the chest. I am going to start to walk around here as you start to feel like settling in, I can be ready to bring you any kind of support you need here in the studio. And at home, if you feel like a support would help you, by all means, get something to put under your knees when you're lying out flat if that feels better for your back. Under your head, if your neck feels a little stiff and your chin's rising up, you can just put a little fold of a blanket underneath the back of your head. And I'd be happy here, just wave at me in the studio if something sounds good. So those of you at home, my microphone looks like it might be getting a little low. So stay in Shavasana as long as you want at home. And if you don't hear me bringing you back, you'll know why, okay? Those of you here will be the usual because we don't have to worry about a battery. So just close your eyes and let yourself ease your way into feeling that support of the ground. The firmness of the floor underneath you enables you really to soften down more easily. Watching your breaths in and out. Not controlling, just observing and accepting your breaths. And just return to your breaths. Whenever your mind wanders away, let yourself come on back to your breath. Giving yourself these few minutes. Letting yourself completely and fully relax.
gradually come back to being aware of the breath, coming in more deeply and fully. So accepting those deeper, fuller breaths, letting the body move physically however it needs when you breathe in and out. Letting those deeper breaths bring you back to wanting to move again. Fingers and toes, hands and feet. Letting yourself start to move, whether you need to stretch or bring your knees in, just go naturally into what your body wants to do. Taking your time. You may stay on your back. You may roll to either your right or your left side if you're comfortable to do that, into a soft fetal position. You can always use an arm as a pillow if you don't have a blanket there, and rest comfortably on your side. Just be mindful of feeling the ground still cradling you, and enjoy that support a little bit longer. And when you feel okay to rise up, let it be easy to float your way up to sitting comfortable, and let your eyes stay closed if you can, so that the body can find its way into however it wants to sit, whether you cross your legs or straighten them or sit up on a blanket if you choose. And just come back to your breath. Once you're seated comfortably, feel that sense of space in your spine as you reach up through the top of your head, and you feel your sitting bones reaching down towards the ground. And on your next exhale, let your hands come gently to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Friday. Thank you all. Happy weekend.